All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a legitimately terrifying survival story, and we're going to break down exactly how a supernatural predator stalks its prey. I mean, we aren't just looking at spooky folklore here, we are mapping out the precise anatomy of a trap. As you'll see, we're going to explore how psychological manipulation, total isolation, and perfect deception all align to completely ensnare a victim.
Just imagine hearing that phrase. The man with you is not your boyfriend. You're hearing this from a mysterious temple priest, while your supposed boyfriend is waiting for you just outside in the pitch black. It is the ultimate nightmare scenario, right? Over the course of this explainer, we are going to break down exactly how our main subject, a young woman named Gauri, ended up in this deadly trap, and maybe more importantly, how the mechanics of this specific mythology actually function in the real world.
Okay, part 1, Alone in the Storm, the setup. To really understand how this trap works, we have to start at the very beginning, with Gauri driving completely alone through a massive, terrifying thunderstorm.
When we map out the timeline of her evening, you can really feel the creeping dread of her journey through these deserted bypasses. At 5:45 p.m., she's frustrated, running late, and she pulls over under a tree to try and call her boyfriend Yug. By 6 p.m., she actually picks him up on the highway, and by 9 p.m., they've been driving for hours and have completely missed the turn to her friend's village. The trap is sprung so slowly and so methodically.
So her vulnerability absolutely peaks when she pulls over at 5:45 p.m. I mean, look at these compounding factors. You've got pouring rain, total isolation, and the sheer frustration of Yug's phone going straight to voicemail. But the real catalyst happens when she stares at Yug's photo on her phone just to calm herself down. In that exact split second, she gets this strange, ominous feeling running down her spine, like someone is watching her from the branches right above her car. She looks up, sees nothing, and speeds away. But it's too late. The target has already been acquired. Which brings us to part 2, the perfect disguise, the deception phase. The entire narrative shifts when Gauri finds who she thinks is Yug just standing on the highway shortly after 6 p.m. Now, what's truly terrifying here is the dramatic irony in Fake Yug's dialogue. When Gauri asks him, "Hey, what would have happened if I drove past without seeing you?" he replies with this line. He tells her, "Someone else would have stopped for me." It's incredibly sinister because, well, he's not talking about hitchhiking. He is stating a predatory fact. If she hadn't stopped, he simply would have hunted another prey. And you can see the psychological manipulation actively at play in the car. They're joking around about ghost stories, and suddenly, Gauri's phone finally rings. This is her one lifeline to reality. But as she reaches for it, Fake Yug stops her and delivers this line. He literally convinces her to turn the phone off entirely without even glancing at the screen. The predator is actively severing her last connection to the outside world, making absolutely sure she remains isolated inside his trap. Then we get this chilling, almost arrogant moment of foreshadowing. Fake Yug practically hands her the hard data on his own species. When Gauri teases him about ghosts, his face gets dead serious. He explains the exact lore to her, stating that evil spirits can take any form they want, they only hunt at night, and they confuse and trap the living. The demon is literally sitting in the passenger seat, explaining its own methodology to her, hiding the terrifying truth right in plain sight. Moving on to part 3, the priest's warning. The revelation. It's 9 p.m. now. They've missed their turn, and Gauri stops at a small roadside temple to ask an old man for directions. You really see the stark contrast here between the demon's severe aversion to a holy site and the frantic actions of her actual boyfriend. Fake Yug suddenly makes up this flimsy excuse about not having bathed, steps far away from the temple, and stands with his back completely turned. He literally cannot approach holy ground. And meanwhile, her real boyfriend is desperately trying to reach her through the very phone she was manipulated into turning off. So Gauri goes inside the temple, and an old priest with this eerily calm face stops her and drops these horrifying facts. This is where the whole trap is laid bare. He reveals exactly how it was sprung hours ago. When Gauri was sitting under that tree at 5:45 p.m., looking at her boyfriend's photo, the demon was sitting right above her. It saw the photo, took Yug's exact form, and waited for her down the highway. The priest then arms her with sacred vermilion powder and a very specific warning. It cannot touch you if you do not fear it. All right, part 4, escaping the demon.
The climax. Armed with that sacred vermilion, Gauri rushes back to the car, but the panic sets in, she drops a single key, and the situation instantly escalates into pure survival horror. Because the second she fumbles, the disguise instantly melts away. The innocent smile of the boyfriend she loves so much is just gone. It's replaced by the true entity lunging at the car. We're talking a twisted face, eyes literally burning with hunger, and these unnaturally long claws. The psychological thriller aspect is totally over. This is now a physical attack. The demon shrieks this horrifying confession right as it slams itself against the glass. "I'll drink your blood and make you one of us." I mean, this proves every single piece of folklore Fake Yug casually mentioned in the car was deadly accurate. It is a blood-drinking demon, it traps the living, and it's actively trying to break the glass to finish the hunt. So let's see how this builds into our survival mechanics. Breaking her frantic actions down into a literal survival guide against evil spirits, Gauri perfectly executes the priest's advice. Step 1, lock the doors and start the engine. Step 2, she remembers the priest's words, turns on the car speakers, and blasts the Hanuman Chalisa at full volume. And step 3, she smears that sacred vermilion straight across the windows and the roof. She doesn't let fear paralyze her, she takes immediate defensive action.
And you know what? The mythology works like an exact science here. Those sacred defense mechanics immediately break the demon's trap. The audio of the prayers and the physical barrier of the vermilion actually cause the creature severe pain. Smoke rises straight from its skin, its grip weakens, and within seconds, it completely vanishes into the darkness. Just like that, the supernatural storm seems to lift, leaving only the natural sounds of rain and frogs. She's free, and she finds the correct road to the village just minutes later. When she finally reaches the wedding house safely, she refuses to even step out of the car right away. She turns her phone back on, only to be hit with this chilling number. Dozens of missed calls from the real Yug. It's that horrifying realization of just how long she was sitting next to a monster. For over 3 hours, she was locked in a moving metal box with a predator wearing the face of the person she loved most. So, as we wrap up this explainer on the anatomy of a demonic trap, it really leaves us with one incredibly unsettling question, doesn't it? When the elements align against you and you're feeling totally isolated and vulnerable, how do you really know the person sitting next to you is who they say they are? Definitely something to keep in mind the next time you find yourself driving down a dark, lonely road in the pouring rain. Thanks for following along with this breakdown.